In Uganda, African heads of Supreme and Constitutional Courts are meeting to discuss issues of human rights and the continent's judiciary under the adjudication of the African Court on Human and People's Rights. The court is ever struggling to get African heads of state recognize it and its role in the protection of human rights.
We do engage with states from time to time when we meet with them during the AU summits. We talk to them. Of course, they'll promise that they are going to do it. But it's a long process, but we are still encouraging states to do that, because when we have universal ratification, when we have universal deposit of the declaration, it gives the court universal legitimacy, because it will mean that every citizen or everyone resident on the continent can access the court.
And yet, in 2014, the leaders voted to expand the jurisdiction of the court.
Currently, we have two courts. One of them already established and operationalized, but we have another court that is still on paper. That is the Court of Justice. So then a decision was made to merge these two courts together. So it will be the African Court of Justice and Human Rights. But unfortunately, we did not receive the number of ratification that we need to enforce this treaty.
There has been no ratification so far, but you have to understand that the process of ratification takes time. It has to deal with sovereignty.
While African governments have been quick to criticize the International Criminal Court for apparently targeting its leadership, the continent's leadership commitment to African solutions for African problems, and especially scrutiny by its own judiciaries, has come to question. So, are African leaders afraid of accountability?
I don't want to say they are afraid of scrutiny. Maybe because the court makes legally binding judgments. Maybe that is why they are a bit reluctant to come before the court.
The protocol to merge the courts came at the height of the debate over the indictment of Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy at the International Court.
Africa will always remain part of the International Criminal Court. But as it has been stated several times, that the International Criminal Court should also respect the African bloc, because the African bloc is the biggest within the ICC. We need them to complement our continental and our national courts. We don't want them to be there to snatch cases and deal with them while we are just standing there looking.
For now, the legal minds meeting here hope to come up with uniform ways of dealing with human rights issues on the continent as the court prepares to nudge African governments at the AU summit in January to prove to citizens that they care about the continent's human rights issues. Sarah Kimani, SABC News, Uganda.